They covered it so well there on the analyst desk. You're seeing just these emotions are going to bubble up from Spartan squad. You always want to help your teammates get that revenge where you have that opportunity. And we're going to see it here in action. But taking a look at these maps and game types, Gaskin, do you feel anything sticks out?
I love this series layout. It's just everything you could want in terms of maps and modes. You haven't got any kind of outliers. You've not got King of the Hill featuring. You've not got Catalyst there. This is everything that these guys, they know, they love, they've practiced. No excuses, as game number 1 is going to be capture the flag on Aquarius. This is the best way you could imagine to start this series. So much time to play with, so much room to play with as we start things off with Spartan himself. So much pressure on this gentleman. I think they'll be happy with top 8, but you know full well he will want to beat his old team, and already going up against one of his replacements of Manny.
I wonder if Spartan right now is like, call him out. Where is he? Let me get the fight. We will see some challenges between those two, but getting that first kill, Spartan moving on over towards the closet and putting some hurt on the eUnited base. There it is, the first 1v1 we see out of those two. And Snipe Down gets his teammates back and takes RyaNoob down in the courtyard.
Yeah, at the moment, FaZe are taking both angles. They're going through car and they're on P side. But the reason they're on P side is because of this camouflage. Snipe Down in such a good position, has the heat wave, has the camouflage, and now he can really do some damage in the opponent's generator here. Just needs a little bit of help from Renegade. And look at them all. They're all trapped. The whole roster should be able to take it down like flies.
What a great play from Snipe Down. We've seen a lot of ineffective camos, and that was a great camo. The part I liked most about it was he decided to not go for some random 1v1 in the base with the heat wave. Instead, he decided to help all his teammates over on the car side.
And it could have gone very badly if he had just darted into the base and, you know, suddenly he leaves his team in a 4 versus 3. Nice shots though from RyaNoob. We'll be using the sidekick. I know a lot of players in this lobby love the sidekick. That's why Aquarius is always going to be fun, so they can have that extra kit in their arsenal. Manny gets taken down by Snipe Down. Suspector responds though. And now the heat wave finds its hands over towards Rayne. I feel like Rayne often is underestimated in this squad, but he's not able to get the kill.
Yeah, and I'm taking a quick look at the scoreboard. One person that's been highlighted a couple times throughout the broadcast has been Snipe Down, saying, hey, is he in his finals form right yet? He is having a strong start, just as is Suspector. Suspector over in on the FaZe base. Move this flag out. This is the first one that we feel has a chance of being capped. Up until now, it's been some threatening pulls, but not really. They didn't have the kills to really back it up, and somehow FaZe get a couple picks and stop the flag in its tracks.
Yeah, you can always talk about 7 kills and who's slaying well, but it's about getting that objective done. It's about getting those kills at the right time. But Renegade does get the return, and FaZe, that is a stop that was very much needed. You cannot allow eUnited to get ahead, otherwise they will continue to capitalize on mistakes maybe you're making. Manny gets tagged up by that dynamite, and unfortunately, his hidey hole is going to be found out. And unfortunately, that means 3 members are now down. Rayne, the last remaining player.
Just totally ousted as he's hiding in that corner by that lightning stick. That is so tough, but here we are. We are 2.5 minutes into this game, and we've had maybe 1 flag attempt. This just shows the cautiousness that both these rosters are taking. Generally, I would say eUnited's gonna be one of those rosters that are gonna try to pull some more scrappy flags, but I feel like you can't afford to do that against a squad here like FaZe, who have such a threat of slaying power.
Very back and forth at the moment. Spartan, the last remaining player on FaZe. I think Bravo said it perfectly on the desk as well, that after that 3-0 against SSG, this series game became a lot more interesting. FaZe looked like they really are going to put up more of a fight than perhaps they had on Friday. RyaNoob gets a nice grenade though onto Spartan, his previous teammate. And now this is where you can get aggressive on the side of eUnited. All 4 members dead. A flag definitely can be pulled, and RyaNoob desperately looking to see where are those spawners. Can I get any information? And they're all going to be bottom P.
Yeah, first looking for those cutoffs over from Fridge side, and look at this methodical escort here come from the eUnited squad. They looked every single route. Look at that, even just prediction nade, knowing these timings down to a T. And there goes Renegade. Spartan's able to get a kill, but it's not gonna be enough, and there's gonna be the first flag going in for eUnited.
So eUnited strike first. FaZe now are gonna have to respond, and they're gonna respond by pulling a flag of their own. Snipe Down also gets the opening kill. 3 are dead for eUnited, and this could be a counter cap if they can sniff out where Manny is. RyaNoob has also been spotted on Fridge, but the flag just hasn't been moving. Camouflage though, popped for Spartan.
I love that for 2 reasons. 1, watching the correct spots is where players would spawn. But 2, He's not getting tunnel vision, not letting his motions get the best of him. Right there was a situation where Spartan could have tried to fight essentially a one-on-one against RyaNoob. He says, nope, gotta go for camo. You know, don't make this personal. We need this as a team win.
Well, if we learned anything from Spartan's interview earlier, is that he wants to be selfless. He wants to take a role in a team that perhaps he's not used to, but he recognizes just how good his teammates are in the roles they already provide for the squad. And if Spartan can fit in, if they can mold, this FaZe roster does get very scary. Manny with the shots onto Snipe down to make it a 4 versus 3. Suspector also very low bottom middle, but the flag has been tossed out. Now it's just about trying to get that flag continuously moving, but at the moment, difficult to do so, with a lot of players with their eyes on it. Spartan gets the opener, Renegade also taken down as well. With 7 minutes still remaining, no reason to panic for either of these squads.
And just look at all these threats lurking on the lower part of the map. Someone like Suspector is just waiting for his teammates on eUnited to lay some damage down so that he can jump up from below and finish off the kill. That's exactly what you need to be doing as a flanker. You need to be waiting for your teammates to create that opportunity so that you can pounce on it. It shouldn't be the other way around. If you get ousted as the flanker, you are done for.
Snipe down the last remaining player. Has to try and challenge this because he can't allow this flag to get too far, but RyaNoob just gets that final bullet in. But maybe Snipe down delayed for just long enough that the rest of the team can come up, do damage with the grenades, and he has done just that. Falcated will rip through RyaNoob. Flag has been stopped, but now here comes the eUnited push. They're getting ahead of it. They are going to get the touch. This is going to be carnage here in the closet. Falcated misses out on one, but it's okay. The rest of the team are there to cover up.
But it feels like these FaZe players are just rotating in and out anytime they're getting threatened. Before, in a situation where I felt like a FaZe member would just challenge to the death, they're running away. They're hightailing it in a good direction. It means that they're trusting that if they do some damage, back down, the rest will be taken care of. And nice little pickup there from Falcated as he's able to secure that heat wave kill in the closet, back down and stay alive. Game is halfway over, and we need to see a cap out of FaZe Clan if they want to extend this series.
The chemistry, the teamwork, it's starting to come together for FaZe, but you can say that eUnited, they're in a similar position. They're a newly formed roster as well. They've got the same excuses if you wanted to use them, and at the moment, they still have the lead. It's only 1-0 though. It's a very slender lead indeed. Renegade slenderly staying alive as well with the camo, but does get spotted out. RyaNoob using that information provided from the team and perfectly using his Hawkeyes.
Those camos, sometimes they just get shut down as such a heartbreaker. I mean, whether it's a predictive nade or people just these eagle eyes across the map, there's just not so much you can do. Hopefully Renegade doesn't let that get to him too much, because that can be a devastating blow.
As I'm looking at the stats, one thing that is standing out, I know Snipe Down has the 16 kills, but it's the amount of cleanup Snipe Down's been able to get. For example, when Spartan does the damage and goes down, Snipe Down is always there to actually get that cleanup, and that's very important. That's something that FaZe weren't doing at the start of this tournament.
Look at all these members from eUnited just loading up over on the closet side, and then they're not just pushing forth until they know they have an advantage. They'll peek and poke out a little bit, but they aren't just blindly charging into the FaZe base. They want to have a good reason to, and here's the reason. They get a kill. RyaNoob moving this flag across the map as they have a numbers advantage. There's Spartan inside the back of the base. Renegade gets taken out. There's only Spartan in position to stop it, and he is also down. This is going to be a second flag going in for eUnited.
Cap number 2, and suddenly that slender lead becomes far healthier here for eUnited. FaZe, unfortunately, just couldn't stop that push, that barrage of damage that came through from eUnited. The sidekick doing all of the damage for RyaNoob, and it looks like they're out for blood. They want a little bit more. The sidekick gets whipped out once again, but better bait and switching this time from FaZe.
Yeah, they did that just right. Now, it's nice that they're pushing with numbers on that side, but you have to question, when do FaZe get back to the top half of the map? They have so many people here at car 1/car 2. It's a good spot temporarily, but you need to use that to get towards car 3 or towards the closet. Otherwise, you're just sitting in a death trap.
Well, it's 2-0. Still a few minutes left for FaZe, but eUnited, we always talk about how good RyaNoob is at calling the end of these games. Let's jump into an Astro listening and see just how the communication is with eUnited.
I got 1-2 there.
I'm coming with you, Run.
Like is there? Nice. Don't in there. Snipe down. Snipe down. Weak.
Dead.
Fucking bad. MP2. Yeah, I left 3.
Yeah, I'll get it.
It's fine. They're generating?
They're RP guys. They are.
Yeah, I'm going back toward flag.
He's our cuts. Now hurt with scatter. Here.
Weak their gen. I hear
Cuts. Went to the cuts. He went P1.
P1 so RP street. I got one. Another on their gen.
Nice.
They're high hall.
P2.
P2 right. I'm trying to look. Didn't keep him.
Dead.
They're vent foul. Never done. On Dynamos? And Dynamos. We got one. Both of them, I think. One more there. Oh, never mind.
Probably their gen or vent.
P1 trying to OE.
P2, snipe down.
P1 OEing with Rust.
I'm pushing their gen.
Got him.
I'm their gen guys.
P1. You should be our P Street.
He's there. They're P-sheet. They're P-sheet, John.
Happy.
P-sheet. One shot. Already gonna die. One charge street. One charge street. Nice.
Baiting a melee.
P2 again. P2 again. P2 weak. Renegade.
Flag Manny,
I'm on the pistol. I'm on the pistol. Yeah. Weak P2. Renegade. In the fire. Renegade dead.
I don't see their flag.
Anyone chasing me?
No, the fire.
The street chasing
I hear you. I'm one Ryan. He's P2 trying to kill me now. Dead. I got him.
Nice.
You guys could have
Come back. Everyone come back.
I didn't see.
I'm running into our flag. I'm just making sure.
Shock sharp, Manny, I'm gonna die. Shock sharp too. He's on shocks, guys. On shocks.
Yeah. On shocks. Weak. Shot him once. RP. Our fire killing me. Renegade.
I can't get out.
Our fire.
Two shots.
He's pushing Ryan. He's going our flag. Going our flag right now.
Yeah, I'm just pushing out. I spawned TP.
Dynamis. On Dynamis. I'm going back.
Yeah, Eden's in their base. Everyone else come back.
If I get weak, shot him once.
They're flag.
Maybe a lifeline here for FaZe as the flag is on the move, and it's going to be a counter cap because eUnited had it all the way across, but it is going to be 2-1. FaZe still alive.
What turned out to potentially be a dagger ended up being a double-edged sword right there because we are about to see eUnited go on a 3-0 lead. Instead, that opened up a counter cap position for FaZe. FaZe are only one cap away from tying this game up, and that's totally feasible within a minute and a half, especially when you have the camo in the hands of Snipedown.
Nice shots from Snipedown as well. Looks to try and do more, but Suspector gets the info, throws the nade, and can finish off that kill comfortably. 3 up on both sides. 1 minute and 26 seconds, as you say. Suspector might wait for the Dynamos to spawn here, just so you've got that extra info. But he could be in a great position. Should a little bit of trigger discipline, will spot out Renegade, but now the information is given away. Now the Dynamos are up, and they are going to fry these players at P1. Car1, excuse me, that's the second player going down, and it is perfectly executed by Suspector.
And not only that, they already have a player on the flag grab. Manny just fitting into this EU strategy and team so well. Pulling this across the map, bringing it all the way towards util. We're going to see if they try to charge and rush this flag in, because that's how they kind of lost that last cap.
Could be deja vu. FaZe managed to get one down. Manny is the first to fall. Snipedown down there with the heat wave. Does see his teammates go down, so it's not going to be an easy counter cap. 40 seconds though, so they do need to get moving. Snipedown has to do a lot. He's moving, he's grooving, but cannot get the shots with the heat wave. And RyaNoob, was that a couple of extra shots, or was he just searching for the heat wave? I joined late, so I'm not sure. I will only speculate. But now, with 25 seconds left, Dave, you have to imagine that FaZe have got one last attempt here.
Yeah, they're going to make a push. Now you have to see where is eUnited going to play defense from. It looks like they decided to go with the heat wave on the flag, and they have some players over at the car side. I like that they just don't commit everyone to the back of the flag, because that sometimes can spell disaster if they get picked off. But however, during this time, FaZe, they pick up the 2 players at car. They're now making the push on the flag. Here's their final attempt. They get the flag out towards util. Snipedown's one shot and just trying to stay alive.
Does stay alive. Renegade picks up the pieces and picks up the flag. 3 are dead. Make it 4. RyaNoob the first one off spawn. Can he do anything? Is there a god nade? Surely not. FaZe are going to tie this game up 2-2, and we go into overtime.
What a clutch tie there. FaZe played that so well. They isolated those 2 members over at Carside, got the kills, and then just collapsed in a 3v2 scenario to get that flagpole. Many other teams and players in that position would have just won instantly towards the flag and gotten shot in the back from those players who were pushed out towards car.
That one is going to hurt, Moshi. That one is going to be a dagger in the heart, like you said, but what a confidence builder this is going to be for FaZe. They were 2-0 down with only a few minutes left, and they still wrestle this one back. Now, of course, we go into overtime. It's 5 extra minutes. It's first cap wins, and we're seeing some aggressive nature here coming out from some of these players. Rayne just trying to stay alive, does stay alive, but the camouflage is going into the hands of Snipedown.
Busted. Manny sees it, so he's going to back down, but look at this. They don't have to have their camos up for this person up. They have someone who's even a bigger double agent on their side. Someone who knows the eUnited strategy. There's Spartan McFly behind enemy lines, pushing the flag with Snipedown, creating a distraction.
We've seen some good camo plays already from Snipedown. Should be able to connect with 1, if not 2. The support from Falcated means that 2 will go down, but RyaNoob is pulling the flag on the other side. Snipedown has vision of it. Need to make sure you cannot go down in the opposition base. Does toss it out. Very good to do this, because at least it makes them think, but priority number 1 is get your flag back right now.
Yeah, Snipedown just tossing it out just to make sure that they can't force cap that without having to return that in in the courtyard first. So looks like both flags will be heading back. Maybe not. Snipe down, getting a little risky. And he's going to continue it. He decides to push his flag towards bottom car. Gets that last touch. Now this is a really threatening situation for eUnited, especially since they have 2 down and Rayne weak in the utility.
If Rayne goes down here, this is definitely cap potential. 3 are dead. Suspector, where are you? Where can you get damage done on this flag runner? It doesn't look like you can. RyaNoob and Manny, the last remaining players. Snipe down, just trying to avoid grenades at the moment. Just need support from the rest of the team. Make the jump, and you've got the game. And somehow FaZe will win this game after being down and out.
Down 2 flags, bringing that game back. You know FaZe comms have got to be hype in the chat.
Wow, wow, wow. FaZe, this is what you wanted to see from this roster. This is something that Clutch was talking about on the desk. If they start to catch fire, if they start to get that belief, suddenly this FaZe roster becomes a terrifying factor in this series. And even though they were slow out of the blocks, as soon as eUnited gave them that opportunity of a counter cap, this FaZe roster turned into a different beast.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the story of any sort of heroic story. You have to have your stumbles. You have to have the call to rise to greatness. And right there, FaZe, backs against the wall, a time that they absolutely could have crumbled. They stepped up. And they're up 1-0 in the series. And we're absolutely seeing a different FaZe from like game to game, series to series. I even called them out earlier on the desk, and I was like, you know what? They can make some small improvements here, tweaks, but like, we're already at Tournament Saturday. Like, there's only so much you can do. But I've already seen leaps and bounds of improvements from this roster. Let's take a quick look at the damage, though. Who was sticking out to you, Gaskin?
I mean, RyaNoob, 7.3k, but it's not enough to get the victory for eUnited. And I mean, we can put the 6.7k damage for Snipe down, but I think it's the risks that he took that really did separate him from the rest in the end of that game. He was the one in the base, right? He was the one who did that damage, got that flag out, got the flag moving. And as we look back at the replays, it's an interesting story. eUnited taking a very commanding lead, looking completely comfortable 2-0 up, but with only a few minutes left, suddenly FaZe are able to get back into it with a counter cap and then a last-ditch pull. And then, of course, they won it in overtime. And I didn't see that happening. I'm going to be honest with you, Dave. I thought at 2-0 for eUnited, surely this was just going to be a comfortable road for them.
Yeah, it was looking like they were starting to pull away. They were in a better groove. They knew how to play better defense, especially against the camo. Just felt like they were kind of doing everything one step ahead of the FaZe roster. Even though they squeaked out that win, I still kind of stand by that statement because it felt like a lot of FaZe caps anyways kind of came from a counter cap. Kind of came from eUnited fumbling a third potential cap.
And eUnited, they got defensive towards the end of this game as well. You saw RyaNoob had the heat wave in the base, was on the defensive, but could not stay alive, got taken down. It was a clutch push by FaZe in the end, sending them to overtime, giving them the opportunity to get back into this game. But it was Snipe down who initiated this final push. Of course, all the rest of the damage coming from the team. And even though there was a lot of damage coming across the map at the end, Snipe down just able to put it in and make sure that FaZe take game number 1 here in this series. And if that's anything to go by, Walshy, I think we're in for one heck of a series. Slayer Livefire is going to be map number 2 here. Any initial thoughts from you?
Initial thoughts, I mean, when we saw eUnited play this earlier, it was more so King of the Hill and such, but we'd see them move as a full unit towards Overshield, as a full unit in different directions. But one other thing I always took from eUnited was I would always see them in standoff time, and they pass that sniper rifle on over towards Spartan. Who is that new player here for eUnited when they're in a neutral position? Who's going to be picking off those kills? Who's going to do that power weapon slayer? I want to see how that plays out here for eUnited. Not saying they can't do it, not saying it's bad for them, but it's just a question. I honestly don't know who that player is for them.
Who is going to be the montage kid now? As the sniper rifle is going to be on the map, is going to be available, and it's going to end up in someone's hands. Game number 2 is going to be Slayer Livefire. Overshield, of course, is slightly delayed, so you're not going to see everyone dart towards it just yet, but Snipe down's patient. He waits for the damage, he waits for the call-outs, and he gets two initial kills here to give a lot of control over towards this OS side.
Yeah, that was just the right place at the right time, just getting back down to the mud and catching people in the back. And, you know, maybe the answer was RyaNoob all along. Looks like he didn't always have to pass that sniper on over to his teammate. Picking off Snipe down from behind, bringing over towards OS, and that's going to be OS and Sniper in the hands of eUnited. Let's see how far ahead they climb with this advantage.
What a difference a sniper rifle shot can make, as well as another body shot means RyaNoob gets the help. Suspector finishes off Snipe down, and it's already 4-4, and RyaNoob looks confident floating around this map. Rayne, of course, has that overshield you were speaking of.
Yeah, and look at this. Falcated just run for his life, not going to get much damage on the board, and they still have an overshield to deal with. So I wonder what the step looks like here for United. Are they going to get a Slay and keep chasing around, or do they want to stay a bit more static? Knowing United, my guess would be they're going to be a bit more fluid. They're going to be pushing out after they get a Slayer or two and try to roll that advantage.
But one thing is for certain, that eUnited have been impressive in Slayers throughout this tournament. I mean, the amount of Game 5s we've seen them win, they have lost one Game 5 as well. Although this is only Game 2 Slayer, it's an entirely different region. And can FaZe just confidently push around this map and stop this sniper rifle from doing any damage? They're being very slow at the moment with their process.
Yeah, it looks like FaZe is just trying to figure out where the threats are. So you saw Renegade poking in and out a couple times trying to say, all right, I didn't see the glare off the sniper rifle. Sniper is not over near Nest. Now with that information, generally if you're a FaZe member, you're saying, all right, I better be careful near top center or OS then. And it looks like FaZe decided to go on the offensive. They know Sniper's now over near OS, and they decide to just charge and flip the map. A bit interesting. I don't know what their goal is here. They're giving up OS, and then maybe they just want to rotate and see if they can take over tower.
Maybe map control. That has to be the only consideration here, because they give up overshield. They know they don't have snipe, and now RyaNoob has all the goodies from the party pack. Can you actually put them together, though? Can you do some damage here? Needs a little bit of support from the rest of the team. Needs someone to create an opening and get that initial information, so then he can start to do that damage. Instead, now he's going to utilize this overshield. He's going to be the aggressor. He's got that info, but can he actually see anyone at the moment? FaZe are doing very well to avoid him. They're all scattering around and scattered together. One grenade could end this whole team.
You know, I think rotating away at times works, but at some point you have to turn and fight, and it looks like that's what FaZe decides to do. Spartan and Renegade picking off Suspector and Manny, making that an even trade. So despite eUnited having a sniper rifle, despite eUnited having a full OS, they didn't really gain much from it. So this strategy from FaZe, although unorthodox, seems to be working.
This might be the slowest live fire slayer I've ever seen. And I guess I'm not really surprised when you look at the teams that are playing it. And oh, there we go. There's the body shot from RyaNoob to make it 9-8. We heard in the interview from Spartan, he said, I used to play really slow on the side of eUnited. For Renegade, he's probably saying, what on earth's going on? I'm used to playing so aggressive. My boys used to run this map, but now you've got to be patient. Now you've got to bide your time, and you have to strategize. Snipe down will get caught out on his own to make it a 10-8 lead here. And finally, that sniper rifle is out of ammo as Falcated slaps him in the back.
And look at this. This just seems to be doing so well for FaZe, given the circumstances. Now, yes, FaZe are down in the Slay, or actually even in Slays. But the part that's most impressive is, as we said, they didn't have the weapons or power-ups to make this happen. Somehow able to come out ahead without those advantages.
That's what, 2 overshields and the sniper rifles going in favor of eUnited, and yet
snipers.
Still, it's the lead for FaZe. I mean, you're right, it's impressive. They were running for quite some time, but it has kind of worked out here. Next overshield is just about to pop. Can FaZe get hold of this one? And if they do, can they capitalize on it? Can they make it count a little bit better than eUnited did?
Yeah, we're not going to see that same rotation here come out from FaZe. Now they don't have that sniper threatening them. They are charging and challenging this OS, and Renegade realizing things are a little too good to be true. He's not going to go launching out the OS. Instead, he needs to take a sneaky route, and here it is. Renegade behind enemy lines gets taken out by RyaNoob. That's going to be a 1-for-2. Make that 2-for-2. Sparty trying to stay alive, and everyone is going down here near this OS.
So unfortunately, not able to get it, but Snipe Down also takes down RyaNoob. Should still go in the hands of eUnited. Manny gets it, but he loses so much overshield so quickly. The firing squad was waiting there on plat, and now FaZe go back into retreat mode. They say, okay, there's a little bit of overshield coming. Let's back off. Let's deplete it ever so slightly, and then we'll retake the fight a little bit later. Snipe Down also finds a kill onto RyaNoob. Still 16-17, but Snipe Down also going down, and now Manny gets to push in. Manny gets to be aggressive here.
They are just trapping them in over here at green. That's going to be Sparty going down as well. Now, some of those rotations have been good from FaZe. However, if they get trapped over at green there, it's kind of a death sentence. There's really no easy or covered way out of that base.
Things slow down again. A 2-kill lead here for eUnited. And FaZe, oh, that's some nice shots coming out. Suddenly they just pop out of the woodwork, and they are able to do a lot of damage here to Manny, and he is in no man's land. Grenades are flooding in as they try and get this initial pick. Spartan even takes a new angle, does get that kill, and now FaZe can try and push up on this. Unfortunately, they do lose one. It's going to be difficult. Suspector is the second go down, though, and now the thing is that FaZe are so good at is they get aggressive when they need to, Dave. They really know when to push and when not to push.
And they're not going after the most obvious threats. There are just times where they know if someone's a little distracted, then they can slide under, you know, get under that bridge and get a new angle on the player who's going to drop away from Nest. It's just that slight little nuanceable difference. Sometimes having the exact one weak person somewhere isn't the first target you go for. They sometimes might be the second target.
It's absolute mayhem again at the overshield, by the way, and it's another one going in favor of eUnited. But despite all of these overshields, it's still only a 2-kill lead. So FaZe, they just need to get hold of one, and you feel like maybe they can start to turn the tides in their favor. Manny will throw a couple of grenades over towards house area. Now he's going to reposition because he's got that heat wave. He wants to get up close and personal, but he has to be careful about this one. You can't just run in and face 3 different people. So he needs to use the information. There's the information. Gets the kill. Also, RyaNoob's got another sniper.
RyaNoob has sniped. They know Renegade's weak down, likely in tunnel. They are in just stronger position right now, so this running away is working for a bit, but they are getting hunted one by one. There goes Renegade. They found another player at OS, and what a nice dodge towards that grenade. Good job using that repulsor to avoid that damage.
Historically, eUnited have always been one of the best Slayer teams. I used to say it all the time, but with the changes, I was worried that maybe things wouldn't quite be there, but it seems like they still have that same strategy employed, and it is working out for them here. It is very slow and methodical at times, but when they do start going and they take a lead like this, it's so difficult to come back when you are the opposition. 31-25. FaZe need to start chaining some kills together here to get them back in this game. They are 6 behind, and it is not going to be comfortable whatsoever if they keep losing out on these overshields and this sniper rifle.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, yes, you can play well around overshield or sniper, but like, if they keep getting it every single time, there's only so much you can do. That's a great point, Gaskin. They need to get that in their hands once, and just eUnited are not allowing it. Oh. Anytime it's within threat, they were able to toss off the map, and RyaNoob saying goodbye to his old teammate Spartan, getting that no-scope into bottom center, and giving his team a 6-kill lead.
6-kill lead. Overshield also popping in 3, and he's going to be in prime position to grab this one as long as a nade doesn't kill him. Rayne is going to be the one to pop the OV. And again, another overshield. This is going to be frustrating for FaZe because they get into kind of a position to hold for it, and unfortunately just not able to capitalize on it, and they find themselves still 5 kills down.
Also, both of them go down there like, he always drops here. I'm going down again, and then Spartan just with a little switch up runs all the way up towards sandbags, even though he's one shot.
There's a lot of little nuances when you're playing against old teammates. They're going to notice those tendencies. You almost have to be a little bit more unpredictable. Is that going to take you out of your comfort zone, though? As I say, that Rayne and the rest of the squad here are going to get aggressive on towards tower. Renegade is a sitting duck, quite literally. A flying duck, actually, would probably be a better analogy. 34-29, and it could increase twofold if they are not careful here. Falcated on tower also taking that fight. 35-31, 36-31. eUnited just seem to be finding these kills when FaZe look like they're getting back into the game. Suddenly a double kill comes into things.
Yeah, and that's just so tough when you're in FaZe spot. Like, you're starting to get to that point in the end of the game where it's like, all right, we need to kind of have some kills happen without us dying. We can't just trade over and over again. Like, let's get something going in our favor, and maybe we can push out and get a step of our own, or maybe even a power weapon of their own.
Well, they're those 2 kills that I talk about. Where's the response? Well, RyaNoob gets the first, and then Rayne gets the second. It's instant response every single time from eUnited. And as I look at those stats, I mean, Renegade with 4 kills, 8 deaths, that's not what we're used to seeing from a player of his caliber. But there is still time to get back into it. It is still only a 4-kill game. We have seen turnarounds far bigger than this. Falcated maybe caught out in Nest, will get taken down. Renegade also gets finished off by Suspector, and honestly, the shots we're seeing from every player on this map right now, you can tell what it means to them.
Absolutely, but we are about to see the last overshield of the game popping up in 10 seconds. If there's a time to get a power-up, it is now, Coach Towie. Let's see what FaZe can do to counter this power-up, because it has been non-stop in the hands of eUnited. They've either been there in position better or won the engagement better, and there's Falcated taking out 2 members. RyaNoob answering with 2 kills of his own. It's a 2v2 for this OS, which is going to be so critical.
FaZe need it. Snipe down grabs it, and he pops it. Spartan's got 1. RyaNoob does respond again, but can we see FaZe now utilize this first overshield to really propel them back into the game? Snipe down desperately searching for any players to try and get some damage on, but they're all hiding away, and suddenly that overshield dissipates. RyaNoob is in Nest. Snipe down's left in no man's land, and the overshield comes to nothing.
You gotta wonder, where's the help, or where's the backup, or what's the plan? Because Snipe down was in a great position there, but just came to no fruition. There are a few kills at the moment, but is it too little too late? 48 kills here for eUnited, and if we know anything about them so far this match, they know how to trade kills.
eUnited know how to trade kills. They also know how to play these final moments, these close quarter possibilities that could happen in the final stages. There's only 1 minute left. One last realistic push here for FaZe to try and get all 4 dead, just to take us to 48-48 and potentially some overtime. RyaNoob and the rest of the squad just watching every angle. Spartan trying to be a little bit of a distraction at the moment over towards Big Door, but you can see with the outlines, the push is starting to happen. All 4 members of FaZe are working together, but then the out-rotate now from eUnited. They're sticking together. The Wolfpack is here, and they just want to avoid this roster for as long as possible. But here come the nades!
This is not a good spot to be in. That rotation works if you don't get caught, but now if you're in a disadvantageous position over near the scoreboard, you are done for. But great trade there, and that's going to be the traded out kills that FaZe fans feared so much. 50-46 here for eUnited in game number 2. We got ourselves a tie series.
A tied series and a very methodical game from eUnited. An impressive game as well. The majority of overshields went in their favor, and the one that didn't, it was very quickly taken out of the equation. It was a game of rotations, it was a game of avoiding fights, but in the end, it is eUnited who come out on top, and RyaNoob had such an impressive game. 17 kills. The amount of times you'd see him in the kill feed, as soon as FaZe popped up with a double, RyaNoob would respond with a cleanup grenade, time and time again, and of course, he took the role of that sniper rifle player. I mean, I don't think I was expecting that, but I tell you what, he did well with it.
I saw so many great body shots, so many great no-scopes. He did everything you could ask for with that weapon. It also never got in the hands of the opponent. He saved that ammo. There were so many times it was ready for the next sniper spawning. Just, you know, they played the clock so well. eUnited, they kept rolling those advantages into the next power weapon, and then they'd take that and hold on to it for a while and roll it into the next one.
On the other side, Renegade 5 and 11. It's not a game we're used to seeing from him. We'll have a look at the damage and see if there's anything that tells us a different story. 3.5k for Renegade. No, it's a bad game for Renegade. I think that he will know it. We know it, but on the other side, RyaNoob with that 5k damage, some of those grenades were really hitting hard, and then of course that sniper rifle as well. But
also Falcated, sort of unsung hero that last game. You know, he had a pretty strong showing for his team, also with 5,000 damage. However, you have to wonder, is he more of kind of that flanker? You know, not as much damage taken there for Falcated, which is good or bad depending on how you look at it. I kind of tend to look at it as bad because you're not taking as much pressure off of your teammates.
If you're not involved in those fights, then what's happening elsewhere? Are you leaving your teammates for dead? That's definitely one way to look at it. As we look back at some of the highlights, it's overshield after overshield that went into the hands of eUnited, and even though FaZe sometimes negated it by running away or just using time so that it wasn't going to be as much of an overshield they faced, it still was eUnited who kept that lead persistently and consistently through the game. It was always 4 or 5 kills they were ahead, and they forced FaZe into a situation when we only had a minute left in the game and FaZe had to make a play. And I do feel like that's when eUnited are at their best, right? When you've got those shot calls, when RyaNoob can make those definitive calls on where you need to go. And they almost got caught out, but the trades, they're good enough in the end, like we can see, and it meant that they do still come out on top. And we're tied up 1-1 in this series.
1-1, and I've never seen that many rotations, I feel like, on live fire. It feels like generally one team gets like a strong advantage and then collapses in on spawns or something like that, but that was quite an odd one, just seeing almost full team rotations just around the map over and over again, Gaskin.
Speaking of odd, it's Oddball that we go on to next. It's going to be Streets Oddball, where these two are going to play yet another objective game. And if game 1 was anything to go by, it is going to be so unpredictable. I imagine it's going to be very back and forth between these two teams. In terms of setups, in terms of rotations, is there anything we've learned from games 1 and 2 that would suggest who is the favorite going into game 3 here?
I mean, as far as setups go and as far as rotating the ball, I do feel like that has to favor EU. I mean, you saw them being the aggressor when it came to the flag game. You saw them have some pretty strong setups here when it came to that live fire Slayer. Even that last end of game rotation as they rotated towards Garage, like, they're on the same page, they're moving at the same time. They're just more coordinated. We even heard it from Spartan too. He's like, we got a lot to learn. We're not on the same page yet. We need to change some of our play styles. I don't feel like that's the case with eUnited right now. They're kicking in all gears.
And I wonder who is under more pressure in this series as well, because we heard the interview, right? Spartan's recognizing what's going wrong. FaZe have reached the bare minimum now, right? They've get to Orlando, they've got pools. This is what they wanted to achieve at the bare minimum. On the other side, for eUnited, you could argue exactly the same. Get top 8, and then what happens afterwards? Do you think this whole rivalry, this whole, like, you know, RyaNoob now is seeing Spartan on a new team, Spartan now leaving his team and having to change things, do you think that adds to pressure more on one side than the other, or do you think it's kind of equally shared pressure in
It's an equally shared pressure, you know what I mean? Like, whoever wins this series, eUnited, if they win, they're going to be sleeping a lot better tonight. Or if FaZe win, you know eUnited's going to get a rougher night of sleep, just saying like, oh man, like we had to win that series. How did we lose that series against him? So, yeah, it's equal pressure on both sides.
Equal pressure, and I'm sure that social media will erupt, despite who wins in this one as well. Although, even though there is a lot of kind of bickering between a couple of these guys, they do know when to call a spade, and they are usually pretty honest, and they admit when they were the worst team, or if they were the better team. And sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes that can be a bad thing. I guess I'll wait and have my Twitter open a little bit later to see what happens. But Oddball Streets is always one of those game types where I feel is a difficult one to hold those setups. It's going to be about who can break a setup better out of these two squads. And certainly one thing we've learned in this tournament so far is FaZe have really struggled in some of these more strategical games where they have to set up, they have to break setups. On the other side for eUnited, they have flourished in some of these scenarios. So this is definitely going to be an interesting one. We are going to be looking at eUnited as favorites coming into it, but I'm sure FaZe will have something to say about that to try and take the lead. The first set of rockets, though, goes to RyaNoob, and he tosses them to his teammate. And he gets tossed back.
Yeah, tosses him down, I guess. Did not land up there, but somehow gets a second chance to pick up the rockets and stay alive. So somehow that works. What an aggressive start that paid off for the most part. RyaNoob's going to be able to at least trade out one kill here, I expect, and there it is. Gets out Renegade. His spot has been called out, and now he's just desperately trying to run away and stay alive.
Got the rockets, but the rest of the team died. It's one of those that if it had paid off, if he had got the toss, it could have been very different. It is a well-practiced scenario, that's for sure. But now we see FaZe getting the ball, retreating into Tram, getting the setup in Tram. If they can get a couple of kills here just to keep eUnited back, we could see a lot of time gathered by this roster.
And what a great rotation there from FaZe. Yes, kills got traded out too fast for them to be able to take full advantage of that rotation. But whole point is they got the ball over there without the ball carrier being killed, and they had a chance at a Tram setup.
Certainly when we saw Recharge Oddball earlier from this FaZe roster, it was Snipe Down who really picked up that duty of playing the objective, rotating that ball, getting the scrappy time. But he not only was doing that, he was slaying like crazy. If he can play like that again, then certainly FaZe will be in a far better position than maybe I had considered when I just looked at this map on paper. Still a couple of players without any kills at the moment, though it's still early doors as well. And now this Bulldog can do some damage, and it is going to do the damage, allows the team to clean up. Two are dead on both sides, and this is going to be a big 2v2, because there is a lot of ball time that can be gathered by the team that first gets this over towards Trap.
Yeah, both sides are being real cautious, though. They don't want to give up a couple deaths just rotating this ball away. It looks like Suspector's going to take that risk and run over towards tower. This is the time that FaZe needs to pounce and punish them for it, and there was no punish following that up. So we're going to have to see how FaZe decide to break the setup. In my eyes, you didn't see eUnited get any sort of kills in order to move that ball across the map, and you need to pounce on those moments.
Can they capitalize on one player having that ball, though? Because rockets are up, and rockets are now in the hands of Snipe Down. Doesn't need it to use it on the first player. 3 are dead. Rayne, the last remaining player, and he's all the way on the other side of the map at the moment. He's going to be spawning a few players over towards Pink Street, and Snipe Down should be in the perfect spot to get some kills. And oh my god, that rocket did no damage, and Manny perhaps protected by a cardboard box.
Yeah, Snipe Down is... I can guarantee he's not very happy about that rocket not hurting that player, but he's gonna have to deal with it because that is unfortunate. It was a situation too where Snipe Down saying, oh, they're probably all spawning at Tram, and then first gets caught off guard realizing they're at Cafe, and that could have been a blessing or a curse. Should have been a blessing as he should have gotten 2 quick, easy kills.
I mean, if I am ever involved in some sort of apocalypse, cardboard boxes will be what I build my fort with, because clearly they can really protect you from rocket damage. But 31 to 24, some considerable amount of time now being gained by eUnited off the back of it. Good rotations as well, just to try and stay alive, but 4 dead on the side of eUnited, and now FaZe can really use this to get some time, to get a setup, to try and find out who's spawning where, and ensure that they really get a good chunk of time here because they can take a fantastic lead because of it.
You're right, this is their first chance at a real setup, but they don't have it yet. Look at Falcated had to rotate all the way over from tower back into Tram to try to help this team get it fully going. And here it is, Falcated finally over the reinforcements, takes out RyaNoob, but kind of too little too late. Here comes the push from eUnited. They have 3 members in Tram, and they have the ball.
Again, it's one of FaZe's many struggles, and it's an overkill for Manny, and some teabagging to follow as well, just to let him know that he is boss. We heard him in a listening earlier as well, saying, you know, these guys are trash. Well, I'm sure he's showing it now, but in his gameplay instead, 47-40, and that could be a massive game changer when you think of momentum, when you think of a swing of the game.
And there's one of the concerns I kind of highlighted at the beginning of the match. I was saying, when it comes to setups, I don't know if FaZe have those figured out just yet. And you kind of saw it right there. They had ball and tram, they kind of had people still over near Cafe and Tower, and they had, you know, the maps kind of split in half in the elongated way, but they didn't have the backup all on one side that they needed, and it fell real quick. They lost the setup real fast. And now look at when eUnited has it. They've already been racking up points on the board. They're in no fear of getting overkilled by Manny just yet.
Points and confidence.
Here comes
And
a good rotation.
now you've got the rotate as well. You're completely right. This is absolutely perfect in the moment from eUnited. Still one rocket to work with. Doesn't connect again, by the way. I don't know how these rockets aren't killing people, but he does follow up and make sure he gets the cleanup. 3 are dead on the side of FaZe. And now Manny, who got that overkill previously, can get the ball time and can start heading eUnited to this first round.
Yeah, this is just looking like eUnited's round to win. Gonna move this towards the back tower, and FaZe are gonna be in difficult position. They're even throwing desperate grenades. You know that's when you're in trouble, is when you're just throwing desperate grenades across the map to try to damage this oddball, because the time is ticking down. Here it is, 2 members down from FaZe. Ball goes down, but the damage has been done. eUnited still have numbers around, and look at this, just hot potatoing across the map. 1 second away, and it goes down in tires. Here is FaZe's one and only chance to bring this back. They need to get the slays, though. They can't afford them to grab it for 1 second. Look at that, just trying to get the ball. There's a fumble, and I don't know what's happening. RyaNoob getting a triple kill, getting the 1 second, and there it is, gonna be securing that first round.
There you have it. eUnited take round number 1. There was an overkill for Manny, a triple kill for RyaNoob. A little bit of hot potato, as Walshy was talking about. But in the end, it is eUnited who show their class in Oddball once more, and FaZe find themselves on the back foot. And also very much staring at possibly being down in this series now after taking the lead, unless they can change things up. The way they played that first round, it was all right to begin with, but eUnited started to work out what was happening. Manny trying to put these rockets to use will at least get 1 kill.
Manny getting that first slay. These rockets actually being used quite a bit better. I don't know how they're acquiring rockets every single time at the start. I feel like after you get fooled once, I'm throwing a grenade on that rocket about 5 seconds after I spawn.
Somehow, someway, the starting strategy is still providing them with those rockets. Maybe FaZe just not focusing them as much, and instead just getting that map positioning. Manny and Rayne have to retreat ever so slightly. Can grenade over towards the ball. Renegade's already gone down, so it is a 4 versus 3. But it looks like Falcated just smartly and intelligently rotating that ball away from the team.
Snipe down, wisely backing away. This is a situation where he could have gotten double teamed and gave up that first kill of the step, and that's what you want to absolutely avoid. Now, FaZe, although we're seeing a push here from eUnited on the perp side and going up towards these stairs, they're actually in a good spot because they have the rails under control. Anytime you have those B rails under control, it is so difficult to push over towards tram. And look at that, kill after kill going in favor of FaZe, and they now have 28 points on the board.
This is an impressive passage of play from FaZe. Manny, though, can be the initiator here with the Stalker Rifle, but losing out to Snipe Down means even more ball time for Falcated, and he just now needs to listen to this info. He's thinking about potentially going towards Pink Street, but you've got to be careful here because anything could be happening if you don't have the information from your team, and it's all 4 dead for FaZe. A very effective push there from eUnited.
Very effective, and the difference between this and last time was eUnited were able to take over towards B Street and the rails. That is just such a strong angle to have and hold when the opposing team has tram.
And it was one of those moments where Falcated, you could tell he wanted to throw that ball out, but he was very hesitant, didn't know where to go. And that's something that comes with experience as playing more of an objective player, as it were. As Snipe Down does get the kill onto Rayne with the rockets, they regain ball control, and that's fantastic, really, because FaZe, they were all 4 dead, and off-spawn could have very easily sacrificed a lot of time.
So for a second there, they're like, oh, Snipe Down, thank you so much for the rockets. Like, oh, dude, I sent you the wrong gift. Return those back. You get the Bulldog. I'm keeping those.
You're definitely not taking my rockets. You're not taking my guaranteed kills, unless there's any cardboard boxes around that can protect the players. That's for sure. But ball down. 2 dead also on the side of FaZe, but Snipe Down is also going to be still alive. Manages to just clean up the pieces. It's a double, and it could definitely be more if RyaNoob wasn't running. And now Snipe Down, instead of chasing that kill, just recognizes he can get some extra ball time, some extra scrappy time here for his squad.
Yep, and that is so smart too. You don't need every single player trying to hunt that down, but that is dangerous. Snipe Down's teammates get taken out, but look at this smart rotation. All these players were expecting him to throw outside dumpster. Instead, he brings it towards B Street, and all these players spawning at PD now have a chance to shoot at this ball.
Desperately trying to stay alive. The grenade should shut him down. Such a good and valiant effort from Snipe Down. It could have been an entirely different scenario if he had stayed alive. Manny now goes in, grabs the ball, and will start to score here for eUnited. But FaZe, all four of them are up. They're trying to collapse. Spartan trying to get an angle at the moment. He knows if he can take Tram away from them, it leaves eUnited in no man's land, where they're trying to get this janky setup over towards Red.
And here it is. They're getting pushed from both sides over at B and at driveway, but somehow it doesn't work out. Spartan gets flanked by RyaNoob, and Falcated, the only one left, going for a sick insta. I love to see it, but this is some trouble. RyaNoob buying as much time as possible, and here come the reinforcements from FaZe. So overall, that worked out great for FaZe on those flanks, but it just kind of felt like flank after flank after flank and Tram.
Walsh's eyes lit up for a second when an insta was on the cards, but doesn't quite happen. But I'm sure there'll be one before this game is over. 90-29, an entirely different round here for FaZe, as it's just scrappy time for Renegade. Can't get over the 100 mark just yet, though, and it is going to be rocket control for eUnited. Spartan going to be in the sights first. Manny not going to waste those rockets, wants a guaranteed kill, but he has got to be careful and eventually has to waste it because he was getting pressured by too many people.
Yeah, when in doubt, you just have to shoot that rocket. You just can't let it fall into the opposing team's hands. RyaNoob, the only one left here for eUnited, trying to stop Snipe Down from these last few seconds, but it's not going to be enough. Snipe Down and FaZe bring this to a 1-1 tie. We're going to round 3 here in Oddball.
And even though Falcated and Snipe Down have got the kills on this squad, they're also getting the objective done. This is what we wanted from FaZe. We wanted everyone to be pulling their weight, everyone to be pulling their socks up. You know that one? You know that expression, right?
No.
That's not an English one, surely. Surely. What have I got to work with? First I've got Clutch not knowing what pigeons are, and then suddenly now I just can't get the staff. Still 0-0 though in the early stages here, and a lot of power weapons to be played with. Stalker rifle for Snipe Down. If you're going to put it in anyone's hands, definitely know he can connect with those shots into perfect. And it is going to be the opener that maybe FaZe needed, because Falcated follows up. And if ball control can once more find its way into FaZe's hands, there could certainly be a lot of time.
Snipe Down just getting hit by those spike grenades, but doing a good job, especially that very first one, just charging through. Sometimes you time that grenade perfectly, you know you can charge if that person is not looking at that location where they threw it.
Well, FaZe didn't get the ball to begin with. Snipe Down having to be patient, having a look and scout across the map, does enough damage to get the assist on the first, gets the second as well, and now this will give room for FaZe to push up and collapse on this ball. But Manny does have the rockets, and that is going to spell bad news, but he doesn't get the connection, gets taken down, and now RyaNoob is going to be stuck on his own in PD, should be taken down, should not be given a trade, and he does not get a trade in the end.
Falcated and Snipe Down teach him an important lesson about snitches, and get RyaNoob out of PD, take care of him right there, right then, and now they're going to push in on the remaining members of eUnited. They at least have the ball over at tower so they can relax a little bit, but the first and foremost thing is they need to clear out their flanks like they did at the very start.
Snitches get stitches. Snitches get no ball time as well, it would seem, but Falcated is going to have to toss this one out because there is a lot of pressure arriving from eUnited. Manny's going to be the first player who arrives, and Manny does get that kill onto Falcated. I've got to say, Manny has had a lot of important kills so far in this game.
He has, and also putting up almost the most ball time for his team. 10 more points and he'll surpass Rayne. So doing it all here for his roster. And look at that. Realizing rockets are up and says, I need to drop this ball and help lay down some shots across the map. Those rockets could decide who gets the setup and who doesn't.
28-18. Rockets again in the hands of Manny. And remember, this is elimination round 4. This is for top 6. And Manny manages to get a double kill as well. That's better rocket use. It's been a bit iffy so far in this game.
I was about to say, like, Manny's got the rockets. Who's about to get severely injured?
No one takes the death. Instead, they just get slightly hard done by, it would seem. 31-21. And this is good from FaZe. Well, it was until they lost the third player, but they are stopping eUnited from getting these setups. eUnited haven't been able to get a massive amount of time, but maybe now they can.
Yeah, they were trickling too many deaths, and now it's staggered a little bit. There it is, Falcated going down. So we're not going to see FaZe at full power for at least another 5 seconds until Falcated spawns, and until then, who knows who's going to get into engagement. So right there, eUnited doing a good job of just getting slay after slay, staggering it so that FaZe clan can't make a full team push.
Good shots by Suspector is going to be the trade. It's a 2 versus 2. And Rayne, he's very weak.
They're saying, hey,
here comes
did you not learn what we talked about last time?
Renegade tries to follow up, but the difference is, if you've got a shotgun in PD, you're going to have a far more pleasant experience, that's for sure. Those close quarter battles are far easier, and now, this time starting to get away from FaZe. They need to quickly get this push on the go and stop this ball time from happening.
And unfortunately for FaZe, they get staggered once again. Snipedown gets picked off. He's one of the kill leaders on this roster, and they're not able to make that push just yet. Looks like Rocket's popping any second now, or actually 15 seconds from now, and that's going to be the decider. But FaZe can't really afford 15 seconds. They can't just sit back for 15 seconds, let eUnited get to the 80, high 80s mark, and then make a push. They have to make a push while trying to acquire those rockets, and that's going to be a difficult task.
Especially because we've not seen FaZe really get those high-scoring setups, but they do have the ball, but 2 have fallen, but also 3 have fallen on the other side. It's a battle for the rockets down bottom middle. Spartan wins that one. Can he stay alive, and can he do some damage? Will stay alive, does do damage, but no kills, and eventually does fall to the grenade. Ball may be gathered by FaZe, but for how long? Because here comes the push from eUnited. RyaNoob gets shut down first. Suspector follows with the grenade, and as long as Falcated can get his shields back here, he can really do some work, but unfortunately, he just keeps getting tagged up.
Just too many angles coming at him. You can't do much when someone's over at PD and someone's also coming over from the cafe. Just too many spots, and there it is. Suspector and Rayne taking control of the PD. They are now actually in a pretty even fight as we're fighting over on the A side of the map towards that tower and towards PD. So I like how RyaNoob wisely backs down. He realized they're outnumbered. It's 2v3. Why fight that? Why fight that to the death and give them potentially staggered spawns? So a great back down there from eUnited.
FaZe, they got the cafe spawns. They played for the cafe spawns, and now they're rewarded for it as well. It's a setup towards PD. Manny's the first one to go down. Suspector is also going to follow up on the kill on Spartan, and now kills left, right, and center on the map, but who is going to get the important ones? Falcated gets one onto RyaNoob. There is the trade. Manny, the last remaining player, which means more ball time here for FaZe, and slowly but surely, they are getting themselves back into this round.
And here it is. We're going to see if Snipedown the FaZe clan do a good rotation here, but there is some uncertainty. Looks like the information's been found. Sparty finds 2 other players at Tramp, and there is no more chance of getting this ball out of the arcade alive. You saw those players, as soon as they got driveway, all of Snipedown's angles were cut off, and he had to fight his way out of the arcade.
But boy, did he fight his way out. Yeah. That plasma was so crucial for FaZe's chance.
Back in my day, when we had Halo at the arcade, that's what I basically had to do. Gaskin, we could only do LAN. I had to fight everyone out of the arcade, and we'll go over it later.
You're throwing quarters at everyone, just trying to make sure you get the machine.
I still do that part.
You still do. Yeah, I've seen it. It's actually not pleasant to watch, and we need to talk about it later for sure. But it's only a 9-point difference now between these 2 teams. eUnited have just lost 2. FaZe still a full 4, and FaZe now can take the lead in these next moments, especially if they can manage to stagger some spawns once more.
And they found a spawn, but Rayne somehow securing a kill over on Cafe's side. Spartan wants to see if he can answer his own kill back, but looks like there's going to be 2 members there over at Neon. Suspector in on the push. Renegades gets taken down, and that is disastrous here for FaZe because these members of eUnited know how to check every single spot. They got the kills, they got the ball, and they're 14 points away from going ahead in the series.
eUnited now have the advantage. They now have the ball. It's one last push for FaZe. RyaNoob has to throw the ball out, has to instead focus on slaying. Does get one. Suspector gets one onto Falcated as well. And now suddenly these final points should be gobbled up because Snipedown's the last remaining player. He's got no shields. He gets taken down. And eUnited take game number 3, 2-1 here on Oddball Streets.
And we have the best and closest series we have seen yet this weekend. These games can't be much closer than what we have seen. They're always going the distance. These teams just seem to have each other's numbers.
Not surprising really as well when you consider they played together, they know each other, they know how things work, and maybe they know how some of these strategies are employed. As we take a look at some of the statistics on your screen, it was Suspector with a 30 bomb that really headlined things here for eUnited, but it's that assist column that is also definitely worth focusing on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say every single member except for Manny going positive in the KD ratio side, but Manny with 20 assists. That's just such an absurd number. 59 assists that we have there from the eUnited roster. I mean, that's also, you know, you do have 53 assists total from FaZe Clan, so a lot of assists across the board. But let's take a quick look at the damage after we highlighted those kills. And it looks like Sniped_Down joining the over 9,000 club, putting out 9,099 damage as if it has some sort of discount on its damage.
So discount indeed. Come along, buy some damage.
You buy it. It's not 9,100, it's 9,099.
9.99, and you get one free, but not unfortunately a round you get free, because it was eUnited who were able to close things out very close in the end. As we look back at some of the replays and the highlights, all these rockets were going in the hands of eUnited so many times. It was rockets to work with. It was kills going left, right, and center in their favor. And you just feel if it wasn't for, you know, these like overkills, these triple kills that we saw from eUnited, this could have been an entirely different game. And there was the overkill we spoke of. And considering FaZe are this team that we always say, you know, they've got these players that can pop off. It was eUnited that were popping off.
United popping off, and then also consider, we've highlighted many a times throughout the season, calling Renegade arguably the best player in the game. We don't see that this series. This last game, he had, what, least kills, most deaths there for FaZe? I mean, you don't ever want to highlight and say it's a single person's fault, but it's not his fault. I'm just saying that we're not seeing this level of performance with Renegade just yet on this roster, and that's disappointing. You want to bring out that superstar on a team and say, all right, we got Renegade now. I've seen what you've done in Cloud9. Go to work. Do it. Kill them all.
It's not just this game. It was the previous game as well. You know, like it's one of those things where Renegade was probably used to playing in a certain way, used to having 3 players around him who allowed to play him in a certain way. And not only does Spartan have to adjust his playstyle, like all of these guys are having to change things that is so core to how they play the game of Halo. And that is not an easy thing to do whatsoever. Up next is going to be Strongholds on Recharge. Now, one thing we did learn is FaZe, they look quite solid when it comes to Strongholds. In the series, we saw them earlier against SSG. But is it too much of a task now? It's a do-or-die moment for them where you have to win this, otherwise you're out of this tournament.
And Recharge is one where you can't be a slouch on where your position is or how you're doing rotations. We know eUnited have to be on the same page. They're going to say, all right, in this situation, we want to park someone over at elevator, or we want to hold someone in BR or control. I doubt FaZe have gone into as depth of conversations here about this map and mode specifically. So they're going to rely on their in-game instinct, just understand how they play the game in general, but we're going to have to see what comes through. Ultimately, they are going to need just a lot more kills. We need to see that out of Renegade. I don't want to call him out too much, but the man, he's if you're going to go in for running of best player in the game, you need to put up some better numbers.
We need to see the Renegade step up. We need to see what he can do and what he used to do. We've certainly seen glimpses of it throughout this tournament, but perhaps not really in this series. Though, early on, we are seeing points being scored here by FaZe. Falcated also cleaning up the first kill onto Rayne. And I think you're right. I think that strategy-wise, eUnited probably have the upper hand on FaZe at the moment with the practice that they've been able to put in, but FaZe have that slaying potential, and if they can kind of slay as they go, if they can win their individual battles, this game is still very winnable for them.
Yeah, I don't want to see it be potential anymore. I want to see it come to actuality. We don't want to just keep talking about what this team's capable of. Show us. And your backs are against the wall, tournament life on the line against a rival teammate, now or never.
Has to be now. You cannot afford to just kind of roll over and show your belly at this point and go out of the tournament 3-1 to your opposition, who do have previous teammates, previous teams. You've got to show them what you're made of. Manny will escape with this shock rifle. Does have 1 grapple still to work with. Suspector and RyaNoob get 2 kills in the kill feed, and that means that they're still going to be scoring here.
I was going to say, Rayne putting some literal points on Sparty's name by repulsing him off the map and making him a truly Sparty McFly. That was huge over on the Hydra side of the map, and look at this, just shooting that A capture point and getting the finish there with his teammate Sniped_Down, putting that damage and getting a crucial reset there.
Such important damage, and of course information given to Sniped_Down as well. He would have seen those trickles of electricity firing across. And now we're going to see the camouflage coming up in a few seconds as well. A and B in control for FaZe. Renegade in a position to do some damage to those who are bottom middle, but it doesn't matter because everywhere he looks, Falcated's already getting the kills. This is better from FaZe. They are being a little bit more ruthless with their aggression.
They're going to slays, and look at this Sniped_Down flying in to BR, expecting maybe a bit more help or want to make a push together, or maybe just wants to abandon A and realize they can't hold that mode no more.
Always a risk when you leave A, but Spartan comes right back in to clean up one player, but unfortunately Rayne is there as well. And maybe a little bit too quick to push out of A. Were FaZe there, and it now means they will be down A and C. Still have B in control, so they can still wrestle back one of these strongholds. I imagine A will be the choice, but A has a sword, but Snipe Down manages to catch Suspector unaware. He had got shot from behind, and now two are dead. They've got A back, they've got sword back. It's starting to look good here for FaZe.
Is this the first chance we might see a trip cap here from FaZe? I didn't see if their player got taken out over at C. It looks like Spartan did get taken out at C, so no trip cap. In fact, just only a single cap here for FaZe.
Yeah, RyaNoob, the last remaining player, still able to get B. It's so difficult to get that final kill on a player at batteries sometimes because they can hide behind, well, the batteries that are there, of course, that are going up and down. And somehow, some way, eUnited are scoring because of it. Snipe Down just trying to check to see if RyaNoob is still around B. And eventually he'll get that information that, yes, he's going to be right to his right on that long haul area, gets the kill, and now that is the opener that FaZe needed.
Yep, just sniffs them out, and, you know, it's too good to be true. When things are a little too quiet, you have to just know that there's traps abound, and Snipe Down, with his years or decades of experience at this point, just knows where someone's likely going to be, how they're going to try to avoid him, where they're going to hide.
So A and B in control once more. The mistake that FaZe made before was pushing across, trying to get C a little bit too early and giving up those A spawns. But now Snipe Down, quite rightly, giving up the shock rifle. Not something I would typically used to say for Snipe Down, but he gave it to Renegade because he's got the sword. Renegade gets a kill with it. Snipe Down gets the sword kill. All the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together here for FaZe.
And here are the Slays, 3 down. They found where Rayne was earlier. They got the camo, so this is going to be so huge. We're actually going to see the first trip cap here in favor of FaZe. And look at this dangerous Snipe Down. He knows that he can inflict so much damage if he can find where these players are at.
He was just checking there wasn't A spawns, but it's going to be pipe spawns here, and Snipe Down still can do a lot of damage if he plays this correctly. Manny is in his sights, and he's going to use the grapple to get up close and personal. Does go down to no shields, but he's done his job. He's taken that player out of A, and now they can collapse on these final remaining players over towards either B or C.
And there they go. They still get those kills, even though you saw those capture points turn in favor of eUnited for just a moment. They get them back, and they're in good position. They don't have to waste any lives to grab B. That's one of the threats sometimes if you take too long to recapture B, is you sometimes just have to expend a life or two because you get trapped over in the batteries.
Renegade gets another double kill. Shock rifle initiated it, and then he follows up with the battle rifle. Falcated also joining in on the madness, and Manny is going to be the last remaining player.
God.
All 4 were dead temporarily, and now they can push up on this trip cap once more. They can capture C because they know the spawns are happening over towards long haul here. Suspector tries to delay, and he does delay, but unfortunately RyaNoob has been spotted out. It was such a good idea from RyaNoob here. He does manage to get Sniped Down off the map somehow.
Fool me once. I mean, he knew he had the repulsor. I guess he didn't think you'd get it fully from that angle. I thought they'd kill him a little bit faster, but that's a little frustrating. 2 different repulsor plays to send someone flying off the map. That's rough, but damage has been done. FaZe have 150 points on the board. Now what they have to do is just slow it down for a minute. They have to get a couple slays like they've been doing so far this game.
Crazy, really, that eUnited are still scoring, but despite that passage of play we just saw from the FaZe roster, Snipe Down now trying to make up for it and trying to control C because they are getting B, but they're giving up A, of course. You've got to cap this. He does cap it. Okay, now the scoring comes through, and now this is where you can get aggressive over towards A. You're going to see a little bit of a collapse here. Snipe Down could initiate it as well.
Also, Snipe Down did so good there, just waiting to shoot those remote detonations over on this
nice stick.
Gets the nice trade over in Suspector, about the best you can expect for a situation where you're down a couple shots. Now it's up to Sparty. 1v2 on Rayne and RyaNoob, his old teammates. Can he get camo? Can he get one of these strongholds? What can he do in this situation?
Camo is popped. Renegade still alive. Spartan trying to cover for him, and Renegade does get away, and now that means Renegade can go through control here, can get towards A, and if he can get that first pick, it's going to open so much room for FaZe to finally get through, and perfect. Now he's got the sword as well. All the pieces. Does get slightly tickled by his teammate's grenade, which did take away his camo for a little bit, and maybe that just gives enough information to the other team. Renegade now really has to play dip, dodge, dive, and duck so he can stay alive and do some damage with his sword.
And it looks like eUnited just opt to say, all right, he already slipped past their defenses. They have sword near elevator with camo. We can't just go in there and give it free kills, even though it's tempting to try to stop that capture. Instead, eUnited decide to rotate away. They push across the map over towards B and C, and that's a great trade. That's a really smart rotation.
And Renegade will be kicking himself a little bit. Didn't have the sword out, and because of it, gets punished. Will go down. Good grenades coming out of Spartan and Snipe down, but Rayne just holding on to A. Total control now for eUnited, and they will take the lead. B is being captured, but they have already done the damage. They've got A and C. They're getting the slays. Just got to be careful that you don't give up too much easy deaths here. Otherwise, FaZe will take full advantage of that. Wow, what a nade.
And that's scary how fast that turned around. You know, FaZe were in such a comfortable position. I want to say they're up about 70 points there. And then that trip cap, plus an elongated double cap, rotating away when they had camo and sword. I mean, they had the weapons, they had the power-ups, but it still didn't come to fruition. It didn't turn into anything for FaZe.
Points now being scored again for FaZe. This is such a tight game between these two titans of teams. Teams that would be expecting to finish in the top 4, yet this is a game just for top 6. There's still so much more to play for both of these squads if they go on and win this one. A and B back in control now of eUnited. Snipe down, still patrolling this upper area and still managing to do damage. Very calculated push there. He knows he doesn't want to just sit in the doorway because grenades are so easily banked off, but eventually has to retreat, has to try and stay alive.
Pretty sure you're a sword right there, too. I'm not sure if that was someone in BR, if that was the person chasing him, but that's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. But that was also just a smart poke and prod towards the elevator, but still, just only so much you can do. I mean, doing damage in an isolated area like elevator, you need to have a teammate over in, you know, in this area over here at Turbine, or they need to be able to charge over towards Catwalk to take advantage of it.
Something certainly we learned earlier from FaZe is that when they're behind in Strongholds, they do struggle. They need to gain the lead quickly. They need to be capturing something so that they can give themselves that belief, that momentum. But at the moment, it's a 3 versus 2. Suspector doing so well to capture A, and because of it, they'll get a little chunk here of time that perhaps they shouldn't have. Renegade goes down. It's a back smack for Suspector, and now these players are sitting ducks down towards Turbine. Good fight from the FaZe players that do remain, but has the damage already been done? RyaNoob backs off with the grenades, and already we see 231 points on the board for eUnited.
Yeah, they're just backing down. They're able to get a reset, and somehow FaZe still not even able to get A. And look at these desperate charges. There's Renegade, still turning out into a great kill, but just having to force out an individual play over towards C. This is what FaZe needs at some point. They need kills, and time is just ticking away. There's 2 members down for FaZe. Renegade and Snipe down. Tournament life on the line. They get a conversion over to A, so they're still in it.
Still in it for now. 6
but
more
the slays
points
happen.
required.
The slays happen. I would expect one of these strongholds to convert over in favor of eUnited just based on the numbers for a moment.
You'd expect it to happen. RyaNoob is going to dip his toes into B once more. Has to be taken out by FaZe. They cannot allow this B conversion to be too easy, but it is too easy. And now you've got to push up quickly. Snipe down. He's going to get into B. It's going to be a fight of Manny versus Snipe down. A is stopped. Manny needs some help, but so does Snipe down. It's ring around the rosies. Manny gets the reset. 248, but someone's in C. Renegade gets the kill, but RyaNoob's there to get the reset. And now it's going to be a chance in B once more. All these teams are desperately sending themselves into Strongholds.
And right here, RyaNoob and team opt to go towards A, but Snipe down Falcated trying to match that power. Where is the play going to come for eUnited to put this finish on? Looks like Rayne gets a long flank over towards Pipes, kills Spartan, and eUnited now have the numbers advantage that they were looking for.
They get B. And there is going to be 1 player in, and now B again being contested, but if Falcated goes down, this game is over, but he stays alive. Snipe down supports, and still, FaZe are scoring. Still, no win just yet for eUnited, but if we see, at any point, more than 2 members go down for FaZe, it's going to be done. It's going to be dusted, but they are holding on by a thread right now, Walshy.
And what are they going to do? They just literally need to convert one of these strongholds for a second. And it looks like B's the play. Both Suspector and Manny going in there. Manny gets the back smack, and isn't enough. No! Looks like C is contested at the same moment. FaZe somehow finding life in this game, but Manny gonna decide to put pressure on towards A. This is gonna be a tough one to challenge, so it looks like FaZe and Falcated are gonna put the pressure on B, but that's gotta be it. They close it out. eUnited win game number 4, 250 to 194, and take the series 3-1 over FaZe.
I mean, what a series it was, and one of the last-ditch attempts from FaZe to just try and stay in that game, but unfortunately, they just left it too late. If they could have played with that same intensity throughout the entire game, maybe they would have had a better chance, but it's eUnited who get the better of FaZe. It's eUnited who march on into the top 6, and it means FaZe will bow out in their first appearance with this roster, as a top 8 team. It's not necessarily where people would have expected them to finish, but they achieved their bare minimum. They will still be in pools at Orlando. It's the first sighting of this roster. Maybe they didn't perform as some would expect, but they did have glimpses. They did have moments where they looked excellent.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the slays, FaZe Clan only got outslayed by 1 kill over the course of that game. So it just comes down to objective efficiency. I mean, no surprise that eUnited come out ahead in that category.
It's eUnited who get one over FaZe. It's RyaNoob who gets one back over Spartan, but I don't think that that's going to be the end of this saga. I think that we're going to see these guys go up against each other many a time throughout the rest of this season. A better game from Renegade, has to be said. We were saying he needs to step up going into that final match, and he did 5.9k damage, but it is not enough to get the team over the final hurdle. It was Rayne, actually, who has quietly gone about his business throughout this series, who was the real damage dealer on this eUnited roster.
Yeah, Rayne just putting in that silent work there for the eUnited roster to help lead for that 3-1 victory. So, you know, eUnited are feeling good. They get a chance to rest. They're going to play on Championship Sunday.